Over the past few years, many new businesses have been built online, and that's a trend that's going to continue to grow as the years go on. However, working in an online business does not necessarily mean you're free. Now, of course, there are elements to being involved in an online business that do create freedom, being able to work from anywhere, being in control of your income, specifically if you're working in sales and you're on a commission, setting up your private limited company, working as a consultant, not being an employee, not being under contract. There are many things that you can do to create freedom in the online space. However, true freedom comes from ownership and purpose, not through working for someone else. So as much as there is an element of freedom that you can create within an online business, there's so much more that you can attain. Unless you own the company and unless you control the direction of the business and you can control your workload, you're not truly free. I went from working in a corporate 9-to-5 for multiple SaaS companies as a salesperson. Within the institution, I was under contract, I was on a salary, I was capped. I couldn't achieve the goals that I wanted to achieve. And I actually took the move into high ticket sales, started working for a remote company, and I still, even though there was an element of freedom, I was able to work underneath my own company. I was essentially a consultant and not an employee. I still lacked elements of freedom. I was taking sales calls back to back every single day, Monday to Saturday. I would take sales calls from 9 o'clock right until about 7 o'clock. I barely had time to take off, to eat, to breathe, to think, to take action on other goals that I had. So I didn't feel free. And I know there's a lot of talk so far in the online space around high ticket sales being the thing that creates freedom. And there's elements to that which are true and elements which are false, which I'm going to explain in this video. High ticket sales is a great skill to obtain, then convert that into a freedom-based business. Whereas if you're fully focused on being a high ticket salesperson and there isn't that goal, there isn't the purpose that's attached to it, and you're purely here for money, then I would rethink what you're doing. High ticket sales is a skill used to apply to businesses so businesses can grow. Most online businesses are founded as sales driven companies, meaning they have a product or a service that they sell and they need sales firepower to actually grow. Whereas a lot of other companies don't necessarily need that. You see larger SaaS corporations which are actually not even profitable yet because they've had a lot of investment, whereas in the online space there is that lack of investment and they're more self-started companies or more bootstrapped businesses. So sales is really the driving force for them to grow. If you are a salesperson, you need to understand that your skill set is valuable beyond what you can offer your company, and realistically you should be thinking about how you can leverage that to start a business of your own and actually create that freedom. Now obviously starting a business isn't as easy as it seems. There is sacrifices that need to be made, and in fact you're most likely going to sacrifice your freedom before you actually obtain it. I know for me, when I first started my first agency, Golden Growth, and even Sales Growth Club in the early stages, freedom wasn't available at all. It would be all day at my desk working tirelessly because I knew I had a purpose in mind. I did sacrifice the parties, I did sacrifice a lot of holidays, I sacrificed traveling because there was a wider goal. And in order to create freedom, it comes down to what are you willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to sacrifice the person that you are before going into this? Because 100% you're going to have to. You need to change who you are to adapt into a new world. Are you willing to sacrifice your personal life? Are you willing to sacrifice friendships? Are you willing to sacrifice time with family? Because if you're not, then perhaps entrepreneurship isn't the right route for you. But if you are willing to make those sacrifices in the early stages of building a business and you're able to sacrifice freedom, then you're far more likely to obtain freedom in the long run. So in this video, what I'm going to be doing is walking you through an end-to-end on how you can actually start a business online using the tangible skills that you have. Things like sales, things like marketing, personal branding, content creation. These are all valuable skills that you can apply to a business. Personally, I think the most valuable skill necessary is sales. The reason I say that is not only because I come from a sales background, so have been able to understand business and how it works transactionally between consumer and the business, but sales is a valuable asset to have in all walks of life, from communication to partnerships and to actually taking a business off the ground. Every business fails if they aren't able to sell their product or service, so it's one of those skills that you need to have, especially when you're just starting up, you're bootstrapping a business, you've got no investment, all you need is to create a product or a service, and then you need to know how to sell it. So sales is going to be one of the most valuable skills you can have, and I'm going to walk you through exactly how you can leverage that to build your own online business and create true freedom. So what's the first step? Well, firstly, what you need to understand is, who do you actually want to help, right? You need an ICP, an ideal customer profile. You need to have that target audience of people that you want to direct your attention to. So everything centers around this ICP. Your ICP is exactly who's going to buy from you, who's going to be consuming your content, and who are you going to market towards. Now that ICP could be business owners. The ICP could be people looking to get fit. The ICP could be women in their 40s, or women approaching a certain age, or men approaching a certain age. The ICP needs to be granular and specific. You can't help everyone, and the more you try to build a business around helping everyone, the more you're going to spread yourself thin. If you look at Google help a large majority of the population. So in order for you to create a business that does that, you basically need to compete with the likes of Google. But in the early stages of building a business online, you just need to focus your energy on one group of people, a subset of individuals who you feel like you can genuinely help. And when you're thinking about this ICP, look internally. What I've noticed is the best way to target a group of people is to target yourself, or an earlier version of yourself. We call it the younger brother theory. Who can you help? Who is your younger brother, your younger self, or younger sibling, younger sister, whatever you want to call it, are currently experiencing some of the pains that you previously experienced. And the reason it's so important to do that is because you understand how to overcome those pains, because you've experienced them yourself. So essentially what you need to do is think back to what you did to overcome that pain, and essentially create a solution that you can provide to someone else to help them overcome a similar or the same pain. So when you're thinking about your ICP, think back to who you used to be. Or if there isn't a pain that you fully resonate with that you want to create a solution for, then think about your life. Think about the problems that you've experienced through people you've spoken to, through family members, through own experiences going out in the world. There must be something that annoys you. There must be something that frustrates you to the point where you can create a solution around it. And thankfully, we are in a world of endless possibilities. You can build software in a couple of months. You can create a service and take it to market very easily with the help of social media. You can create products that you can sell through Shopify and through drop shipping. There is endless possibility, but it all comes down to who is actually going to be a buyer. So you need to target that person, and you need to make whatever you do in your business resonant to that person. So my advice is to think back to a younger version of yourself, and to think about the problems that you experienced whilst you was that younger version of yourself, and then create a solution to specifically target that. Once you get a good understanding of your ICP, your target audience, who do you want to help, then you need to move on to the offer. Now your offer is your product, it's your service, it's the solution that you create which actually helps your ICP. So you need to think of your offer as an end-to-end solution. It cannot be a commodity, it cannot be a nice to have. It needs to be something that directly takes your target audience, your ICP, from their current state right to their desired state. And your job is to say, their current state is here, their desired outcomes are here. You need to fill the gap in between. And that's what your offer needs to do. It needs to be a fully comprehensive solution that takes someone from their current state to a desired outcome. Now, what that can look like from a service perspective, you see it often with agencies and with coaches. Let's say a fitness coach wants to help someone who is overweight to lose weight, right? They need to create a solution packed with workout plans, nutrition plans, accountability, training support, absolutely everything required to take someone who is 120 kg to 80 kg, for example. It needs to be fully comprehensive. The last thing that person can do is say, eat this food and do these workouts, and then let them be. Because who's going to say that that person who's 120 kg has the strength and the dedication to commit to that workout plan and commit to the diet plan? They're most likely not going to. It's why they're in the situation they're in. So instead of just saying, here's a commodity as a workout plan or a nutrition plan, you need to provide something comprehensive where it's more one-to-one. It's support, guidance, it's accountability, it's check-ins, and everything required for that person to achieve that desired outcome. But it doesn't need to be a service. This could be a product, right? If someone is struggling to drink the right amount of water, right, and that's the type of person you want to help. You want to help someone who is quite often dehydrated, and it affects their days in terms of their energy levels, etc. That is a problem that a lot of people experience. And a product, a solution for that, could be a bottle that is big enough to accommodate half a day's worth of drinking. And then you provide that product and say, all you need to do, fill this bottle up twice a day, fill it up in the morning, finish it, fill it up again, finish it before you go to sleep, and you've done your daily daily intake of water. A product like that solves a comprehensive solution because you've taken a problem, which is not drinking the right amount of water a day, and you provided a solution by creating an easy product that allows you to get your daily water intake. This is the way you need to be thinking when creating that offer. It needs to be something that is end to end, that solves a comprehensive problem for your target audience. Now, this could be absolutely anything. You're not limited to what you're able to offer. It fully depends on the way you want to deliver your business. Now, you can do this as a done-for-you agency in whatever case. For example, we work with business owners to build their sales team. Now, the challenge for business owners is they have an amazing product, but maybe they don't know how to sell, or they don't want to spend their time selling. So instead of doing that, they just want to create content. They want to deliver a service. They want to help as many people as possible. What we do is we come in and we fill the gap between what they're either unable to do or what they don't have the time to do, which is to sell. So we'll build the team, we'll manage the team, and we'll provide a comprehensive solution that takes them from their current state, which is having a product or having a service that they believe that has so much value, but they're just unable to sell it, to their desired outcome, which is still having that product and service, but then getting as many people in, selling it, and growing their business. So that's the comprehensive solution that we're offering at Sales Growth Club. But also in coaching, taking a salesperson or taking an aspiring entrepreneur who doesn't have the direction or doesn't know where they want to go, but they know what outcome they want, and then taking them towards that outcome by providing them with the necessary skills, the accountability, and the systems to achieve that desired outcome. You need to be able to offer something fully comprehensive. Then you've basically got yourself a business. Once you have the ICP and you have your offer, you have a business. Now, the third thing you need to do is to get actual validation. It's always good having ICP and an offer that you believe would work, because you're basing this on your personal experiences. It's something that helped you in the past, so automatically you believe it should help everyone else. Now, it's very likely that it will. Other people have other experiences, and the same thing that helped you isn't guaranteed to help everyone else. So you need to validate your offer so that you've got product market fit, or it could be service market fit, or if we're going to say whatever, it's solution market fit is what you want. So you want to make sure the market has validated the fact that the offer that you're about to present or you're about to launch, the solution, the service, the product, whatever it is, the perfect solution for that specific audience. And in order to validate that, you need to do market research. You need to simply ask people who have that problem, is this a solution that could potentially help you? It sounds easier than it is, but again, sales is going to come and play a massive part in this, because you are essentially communicating with people. You don't have to do this in a salesy way. The best way to do it from my perspective is surveys, literally creating a simple Google form, reaching out to people in your network or looking for referrals, going into your network, asking people who they know. You can fill out this survey, obviously people specifically in your ICP, and this works twofold, but find the people in your ICP, get them to complete a survey, get them to validate what they need, essentially. Use that survey to find out what their problem is and what the desired solution would be for them to take them to that outcome. And then once you've got enough data, you validated it. This doesn't need to be difficult. What this is going to do is it's going to give you a full insight into how your offer is actually going to work and to whether or not your offer is the right thing. If it's not, then it's going to give you insight into how you can improve your offer so it can specifically accommodate and target your ICP. But also, it's giving you leads. What you can do with the information that you've collected is you can go back to those people who filled out your survey and say, hey, I've actually created a solution for this specific outcome. I was just wondering if you'd be open to exploring it. And then you've got a meeting with someone in your ICP about an offer that you have created. It works very, very well for both reasons, market research and obviously creating pipeline. Once you've validated that offer, you know exactly who you want to help, you know exactly what you're going to create to help them, and it's been validated by the market. They agree that the solution that you're creating is the right thing that's going to actually help them get to their desired outcome. Then all you need to do is get attention to it. So you need to start thinking about marketing. What we're going to talk about next is your brand. Now, your branding is purely focused on how can you generate as much attention as possible so everyone knows not necessarily who you are. Obviously, most businesses are operated based on like who the founder is. You see companies like Apple and then you know who Steve Jobs is. You see Google, you see Microsoft and you know who Bill Gates cases, but you essentially focus on the founder as opposed to the company in a lot of situations. If you look in modern businesses nowadays, the founder has the brand before you know who the company are. You look at Alex Hormozy before you know acquisitions.com. So everything these days is down to your personal brand. However, if you're creating a software, if you're selling a product, then the branding will be slightly different and it's more focused on the actual product itself. But either way, branding is fully focused on getting attention to your offer. So people need to know that you are the solution to their problem. Now this comes in many ways, but essentially all you need to do here is create content. So you need to build content around that solution. Whether it's a product, you create content. You can use UCG creators, you can use influencer marketing, you can send people your product and get them to use it and film content about them using it and how it's helped them to solve the problem that you want to solve. Or if you're operating a services business, you will just create content kind of like what I'm doing right now, speaking about a specific issue that you are qualified to solve, and then people start to trust you, and that's how you build trust and respect in the space that you're operating in. So then the more content people consume of yourself, they're going to think, wow, this person knows exactly what they're talking about in this space that I'm interested in exploring further. And who are they going to come to? The person that they trust, and it's going to be a much easier sell. So you need to create a brand, whether it's a personal brand, whether it's a brand around your product. There needs to be an element of branding. There needs to be a story that helps you to stand out. So branding, once you've validated your offer, and once you've got the ICP, once you've got the offer, once you've validated it, branding is the next thing to generate as much attention to your offer as possible. Now the next thing, which is the natural progression here, and it's something that I've alluded to earlier on in this video, is sales. Sales is how you're actually going to make money. You need money. Your business needs to make money, otherwise it's a hobby, and then if it's not making any money, it's essentially a failed business because it hasn't worked. It hasn't targeted the right person. People aren't willing to invest in it. But it's not necessarily down to the offer all the time. Sometimes it's your skill set. It's your ability to articulate and communicate that product in the most effective way. So sales is a skill set that you need to learn as a founder. If you don't know about it already, you need to learn it as a founder to take your product to the next level. And then you need to be able to attract great sales talent when we get to the later stages of your business, once you've actually validated it with real customers who have invested, and then you can start to really increase and scale by bringing on salespeople to sell the product for you. But having good salespeople and being a great salesperson yourself is absolutely essential to taking a business off the ground. Specifically in this new online era where most companies created are sales-driven companies. It's service-based businesses that have a service that they offer to a specific person, and you're competing in a market of loads of people doing the exact same thing as you. So you need to be able to sell it better than anyone else, because the person who sells it the best is the person who's going to win. At the end of the day, if someone is in the market for something specifically and you're competing with 5 different people who are doing the exact same thing as you, who are they going to move forward with? The person who they have the best relationship with, the person who they trust the most, and the person who is able to actually get them to make a buy-in decision on that call. So they need to be a good salesperson in order to win that bout between your competitors. And competition makes you hungry. There's no such thing as a saturated niche. Actually, every niche is saturated, meaning no matter what environment you get yourself involved with or what industry you get involved in, there's going to be competition. So rather than worrying about finding a competitionless industry or niche, instead you just need to focus on developing your skill set to position you at the top of your competitors. And this comes down to the 2 things that I just mentioned, branding being one of them, because that's how you're going to build trust, and sales being the other, because that's how you're actually going to convert that attention into money. Now, once you've sold, essentially, once you've closed the deal, the sale doesn't stop there. Everything is a sale, including your service delivery, which is the next pillar to what we're discussing today. Service delivery is extremely important because once you've got someone through the door, who's to stop them from asking for a refund? Now, it's law for you to at least offer a 14-day money-back guarantee. So someone can get involved in your business 2 weeks in, they're not enjoying the service, they can essentially retract and get their money back. And there's nothing you can do about that. So you have to make sure that your service is A, providing what you've sold them on. Often the case is you have a really good salesperson who over promises and then the service delivery under delivers. What you need to do with sales is sell so well but still under deliver and over deliver with your service. So you need to make sure your service delivery is over delivering on what you promised them in a sale or from what your sales reps promised them in the sale. Then you need to make sure that that it's consistent and it takes them, as mentioned before, from their current state to their desired outcome. So your sole purpose once you've signed a client isn't how do I sign another client and make more money. Your sole purpose, specifically in the early stages of your business, is to take that client from a sale to their desired outcome. You need to actually care about how you're going to give them the results that is necessary, because that's how you get testimonials, that's how you get referrals, and that's how you build the back end of your company. People will respond to testimonials just like they're going to respond to your other marketing materials. Testimonials are the most valuable form of marketing because it's real life events. It's real people sharing real stories about how you've helped them. So your whole focus needs to be on how can I get this person the best results possible. And this is something that will optimize over time. Naturally, what will happen is early on, you bump into challenges. You need to ask for consistent feedback loops. So you need to constantly ask your clients, what can I do better to improve this service? And then once you've got consistent feedback loops and you're able to optimize your service delivery, it will get to the point a couple of clients in where your service delivery is completely on point. You know exactly what you need to do to help them go from their current to their desired state, and you get consistent testimonials as a result of that. So be mindful of your service delivery. Don't focus on consistent acquisition until you have a spot on delivery of whatever it is you're offering, whether that's your software, whether it's a product, or whether it's your service. Now we're approaching the end, so there's two more things to cover. Now these two things is about ongoing optimization. Once we've got the target audience, the offer, we've validated it, we're able to sell it, and we're able to deliver the service, that is the main foundation of an online business. Once you've cracked that code, then optimization from there is going to be super simple. But the next thing you need to do is focus on systemization, because we're in an era now full of AI, full of automations that mean we don't need to do as much of the work ourselves, and it allows us more bandwidth to focus on the business, right? Actually thinking about new offers, new marketing strategies, new branding, new hires, how you can actually improve the business as opposed to working on it and as opposed to working in it. So if you're still working in your business, you need to then focus on how can you systemize as much of that as possible. So you want to be systemizing things like your client acquisition. So you need to know exact metrics on what it takes for a new lead to become a client. Then that needs to be a system like clockwork, right? That's just constantly trickling over. There's constantly X amount of messages going out, constantly X amount of meetings being booked, X amount of calls being taken, X amount of calls being closed, etc., etc. You want to think in terms of your content strategy. There's always this content going out that's focused on attention, this focused on education, and so on and so forth. You want to systemize that approach. Then you want to have your data all stored and collected in whether it be a spreadsheet, a CRM, some sort of software that you can store all of your information about your leads, all of your information about your sales process, and absolutely everything necessary to take a lead to a sale, and then obviously service delivery as well. You need to have, SMS reminders, email campaigns with your service delivery, specific onboarding SOPs. Everything needs to be completely systemized so that when you hire new people, they can just sit in with the systems that already exist and everything just continues to move, and it allows you to pull away from the day-to-day of your business. Now, the final thing that I want to discuss, which ties very well into systemization, is delegation. Delegation is when you start to remove yourself from the day-to-day of your business entirely, and you bring in other people who can facilitate some of the roles that are lower leveraged, and you can focus on the high leverage tasks like strategy and growth. So when your head is buried in the day-to-day of the business, you're still sending out messages, you're still micromanaging your team, you're still making sure that you're setting out onboarding flows and automations and everything like that, then your head is scrambled and you're not going to be able to focus or give the attention necessary to grow your business to the next level. So what happens is you end up doing everything else and your business stays stagnant. What you need to do as a founder in that position is keep an eye on all of the tasks that are repetitive, that aren't high leveraged for you to be doing, and then you need to find someone who can facilitate that role, who believes in the mission of your company, and they need to complete it. So for now, at Sales Growth Club, we have a team of 10 sales reps who do the appointment setting, who dial the leads, who make sure that we're nurturing conversations with people, and then who close the deals. So myself and Callum aren't doing that. And it means that we can focus on building our software. It means we can focus on creating more content. It means we can focus on the branding, and it means we can focus on our strategy strategy and how we're going to grow the company. The moment you have delegated a portion of your business, that's when you start to see freedom, because you notice that now you've built a business. You've not built a self-service business, you've built a company. And when you have a company, then it allows everyone to have their own individual role, which means that your role is focused on the things that are leveraged and it's going to grow the company, and then the day-to-day is taken over by someone else. And that's when you start to see real freedom. But let me remind you, building a business is not easy. It's simple if you follow the basic guidelines that are provided in this video, but it is not easy by any means necessary. You're going to face challenges. Challenges are going to be inevitable here. So the more you just take it on the chin, the better you're going to be, but it is all part of the game. So if this is something you want to do, then, be open to the fact that you're going to experience hardship, and be open to the fact that you're going to have to make sacrifices. But if you truly want freedom in the online space, then it comes down to going on your own and creating a business, and creating a business that is beneficial for the long term. Not a quick business where it's a get rich quick scheme where you're only creating something to make money quickly. Because if you wanted to do that, you could, right? There's so many companies out there now that start a business, mostly training and coaching businesses, maybe some agencies that are fully focused on sell, get clients, and then just disappear. It's a get rich quick scheme, and then the company completely dies out. Whereas if you want to focus on longevity, it's going to take time to build up. It's not going to be easy. There will be times where you're not making as much money as you would like to be, but eventually the time will come where everything clicks, falls into place, and you have the freedom that you was always looking for. So if this has been helpful, then subscribe to the page for more tips on how you can create wealth and create freedom in the online business space, and how to just get your foothold in the way that business is shifting online, and how you can really take advantage of that. I hope this video has been helpful, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.